that. But to help us square off what's going on with the economy versus what we're seeing in the stock market, I want to bring in our next guest. We have John Grace. He's the president of Investors Advantage Corp. And John, just taking into account what Brian was saying from an economic perspective, and then comparing that to what we've been seeing in the stock market, also with the fact that we don't have a deal in Washington, my question to you is, can this market's momentum that we have seen, can this keep up without more stimulus right now? John, you're muted.
Sorry, I would say that you're all making some very good points, and we've got to work through the detox, okay? We've got a whole lot of debt. It looks to me like the Dow has had the best 100 days since 1933. And from here, it feels like this. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to put your trade tables in the upright and locked position, because you need to keep your arms and legs inside this vehicle. This plane's coming down. It's going to have a hard landing, and it might not be on tarmac. So a lot of buoyancy. A lot of people are being very optimistic. But fundamentally, there's just a lot of missing pieces to the equation. Markets typically do not like distractions, certainly do not like uncertainty, and we've got uncertainty everywhere you can look. So this, I think, is going to be a hard landing, and I'm saying that investors need to be prepared, and maybe what the first thing they need to do is not look at their quarterly statement. It can be very misleading. Look to see how your account did from February 19th, the peak so far, versus March 23rd, the low so far. I think we're going to retest those lows, but people don't see it, so they're not prepared for it.
Hey, John, Rick Newman here. Come on now. The Federal Reserve is not going to allow a hard landing, is it?
Well, the Federal Reserve is throwing everything, including every kitchen sink it could possibly put in the equation, to make everybody not look at the man behind the curtain, to make everybody just spend, baby, spend. And at some point, it's going to stop. So they're doing everything they can to keep everything as lofty and lovely, particularly for the top 1%ers, who always do well no matter what. But at some point, the music does stop, and we're going to have to come out this carousel. And it's not just our Fed, the central banks around the world, which would have us all believe they have the capacity to simply put a little machine or a little gauge on the wall, and the machines will do all the work, cool the economy, heat the economy. Everybody's going to be comfortable. Nobody's going to go through some pain. We're going to have to go through some pain like winter to get to spring.
So, John, let me just ask you just about the economic data that's out this morning, because I know you're saying that we have a lot more pain ahead, but when you take into account the numbers that we got on the retail sales front, also the consumer sentiment number, I think largely it was okay. I think investors were pleased, to say the least, with that report. What do you make of it? I mean, are you a little bit more concerned than, I guess, that we are seeing the progress in the retail sales at least slow down a little bit?
Well, I mean, once you stop getting your $600 a week, what are you going to spend with? Okay, those were transfer payments as far as I'm concerned. So, and many people, thanks to the $600, had more money to spend depending on their particular situation. But that's all come to a stop. And we do not yet see how this pandemic of epic proportions is upsetting the apple carts all over the place. I do see that, the folks who are maybe lower end may have been spending as well as they have before. Certainly you can do that with other people's money. The folks at the $100,000 and above level, I do see that there has been some retraction from spending. But at the end of the day, let's also recognize that spending is good for the overall economy. It's bad for those of us who are one paycheck away from being destitute because we have no resources other than the last paycheck.
All right, John Grace. Well, we're going to have you back on to see how this all shakes out here over the next couple of months. John Grace, president of Investors Advantage Corp. Great to have you back on the program. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us.
My pleasure.